Okay, boys and girls, we're live. Weather report, March 6th, 2021.
How did we make it this far with our empty, aching, purposeless lives?
I know we're so
lives without purpose, or not external purpose. Apparently, it's not good enough to have things that you love and people that you love that just drive you and motivate you. It has to be external.
Well, isn't cheesecake and bacon technically external?
Bacon, you know, if it's the right kind of bacon, I'd probably break a lot of felony laws.
Yes.
For that.
Oh, yes. Okay, so this is from Icarus. This little
Icarus, yes. I didn't ask his permission, but he posted a link, and I must thank him for that because this is very funny.
Oh, okay. You want to read it?
Sure. Or... Study 3 years for degree. Study 3 more for PhD. Join lab. Start working. Spend years studying problem. Form hypothesis. Gather evidence. Test hypothesis. Form conclusions. Report findings. Clear peer review. Findings published. Reported in press. Guy on internet. Bullshit. So, that was my acting chops coming out.
That's pretty good. You did well. Anyway, yep. So that's what we're going to review a little bit of today. Let's see, and we're going to try to keep it light in the room so that we can get through some of this.
Also, let's once again thank Brainbug for that wonderful intro. I enjoy it every time, more every time that I see it.
I'm getting like the music more and more and more. It's becoming a brand, which is kind of cool. So
yeah, it's kind of a brand. So that's pretty awesome.
So okay. Oh, wait a minute. No, Mike. No, Mike. Hit the damn audio button. God, I wish I would fix that. Why would you want to play a video without the audio button? Aftershow James Tour. Hit the audio button.
Maybe it's a silent movie.
Yes. Yeah, maybe that's what we wanted. And I'm going to switch up here a little bit. Go to the right audio device. So anyway, we have the James Tour series, which to me is just a series of James Tour trying to impress people with his knowledge of chemistry, where he doesn't really explain how any of that stuff works and bitches about abiogenesis. And bitches in particular about how reporters report abiogenesis to the public, which is primarily what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's, oh my goodness, what did I do? I knew I was going to do that. No, I didn't. If I'd known I was going to do that, I wouldn't have done that. Okay. So
I love it. I love it when the lack of production value becomes the content of the show.
I know. Okay, I want to point out here that this guy whose name we cannot use, who we shall refer to as Slimey from now on, says, if you're a good person, feel free to join. And I think that is like specifically directed at somebody on this channel. I don't know, because I've had a little bit of interactions with Slimey, and that's kind of what that's kind of where I came up the idea that I should start calling him Slimey, like he has been called on forums for a number of years. So anyway,
I find myself that I would never phrase it that way. Like if I was running a bot like that on my channel, I would have it say, if you can maintain appropriate behavior, then come on in. But when you call somebody good or bad, that's called judging.
Judgy.
I think the author of their favorite book told them not to be judgy McJudgertons.
Yes.
But, it's not my religion anymore. But I don't know. That just kind of says something to me.
Yeah, we're gonna go back and start a little bit earlier. But did you have anything prior to my bookmarks?
Well, I don't know. I'll take a quick look here off screen.
Okay, but let me go ahead and play this part first.
Sure, yeah, start playing.
It's almost like a farce. They're so determined. We have one guy who's whose name shall not be mentioned nor his channel, by me at least, every day almost he's having a report and complaining about creationists. And it's like, dude, do you have something better to do? I mean, is that your purpose in life?
Well, what's interesting about that too is it's a whole group of them. They all get together to basically.
Okay, so I have a channel whose primary purpose is to go after creationist pseudoscience, and he seems surprised that I have a show every day going after creationist pseudoscience.
Yes, and imagine that. How many times a week does Sal broadcast from his little channel?
Just about once a day. Yeah.
So I don't quite understand gosh, back when I was involved in religion, there was this guy in that book they like so much that would talk about like not pulling a speck from somebody else's eye until you get rid of the plank in your own eye. And I don't know, does it, since he actually has more output per week than you do, maybe he's the guy with the plank in the eye. I don't know, because obviously I don't have this internal visitation of a spiritual being that they claim to have. But it just seems like there's some applicability there. I don't know.
If you had a foundation for your knowledge, you'd be able to be certain of that claim that you're making. But
I don't want to be haughty.
Yeah, you want to be. But I challenge you to find one of his streams or Praise's streams or Maddox's streams where they do not say the word atheist or evolutionist. Just one of them. I mean,
who's that? The evolutionists. Those atheists are
evolutionists. So anyway, okay. Did you find anything prior to 11:10?
Hold on. Yes. See, I keep muting just in case the dogs try to bark, and then you ask me something. Well, back at 5:52. Back at 5:52, I made a note about and I know people really like to talk up their particular field of interest over others. It's kind of a competition, and I'm sure in that great science lunchroom out there that Big Science has, people are always just, oh, you biologists, oh, you physicists, kind of jabbing each other with things. But it just kind of puzzled me why Sal wants to denigrate one field of science over another. So at 5:52, he's kind of talking about that.
Okay. I'll play. Okay, got it. Ready?
Roll. Ready, set, go.
Yeah, we look at the cell. I mean, a biophysicist made this comment. They say you look at living things, you think they're just so frail because of their vulnerability to the environment. But then when you think about how it actually accomplishes its tasks, it does it at the limits of physics. And I think I'm going to maybe cite a article by Natalie Tangier, and it's really sad. We're sending something that eventually did get accepted.
What's that?
Maybe I got the time wrong. That's at 5:17 or 6:17.
Oh, didn't I go to 5:50? I thought you said 5:52.
Yeah, about 5:50. Yeah, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that was the end of it. Maybe back up about 10 seconds. Go to 5:45 or something.
5:45. Yeah, let's start.
That's fine right there.
Okay.
I've seen that when I deal with nano engineers and people who are synthetic organic chemists. I know a few of them, and they're just blown away with what goes on in the cell. It can do it so much better. So yeah, we look at the cell. I mean, a biophysicist made this comment. They say you look at living things, you think they're just so frail because of their vulnerability to the environment. But then when you think about how it actually accomplishes its tasks, it does it at the limits of physics. And I think I'm going to maybe cite a article by Natalie Tangier, and it's really sad.
Yeah, I think we'd have to go back in the Moment's Ruin, but he was basically denigrating evolutionary biology, saying, "Boy, these biophysicists and people have it so much better," but they're dealing with stuff in the present day, and evolutionary biologists, they have to deal with things that happened multiple thousands and millions of years ago, and I just think that maybe 1,000 years from now, when we have to have nano archaeologists to figure out what kind of nanotechnology that America was using before the great apocalypse or whatever, then they'll understand that when you have time limitations like that, things are going to be a little bit imprecise. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, he keeps going on about this absolute engineering and whatever, and I don't quite know what he's talking about. You know, the limits of engineering, and there are a few things where life, because molecules are very, very tiny and sensitive, where life has evolved to pick up on very, very small signals. And I don't know, but I think we've accomplished a lot of that. We're scanning galaxies that are what, 18 billion light years away or something.
Yeah, we have definitely increased our sensitivity to what's going on out there.
Yeah, we're controlling little bugs that crawl on the surface of Mars, you know, with signals that actually come in time delayed, and we managed to do all that. But I don't know. We'd have to look into particular claims, but it don't matter because we know that life is pretty fucking incredible, right? I mean, that's the whole point. That's why we're here. That's who we are.
Yeah.
We're living.
And at some point, all these imprecisions that Sal's accusing, I'm sorry, I said that name we should not name, that this individual is saying we're not good at, we'll get better at, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, if Slimey wants to start actually advertising my channel like I'm advertising his right now, a little tit for tat, then I'll quit calling you Slimy. Because, of course, you know, that will be honest of you, by the way. Okay. So any other timestamps before 11:10?
Let's take a look. Boy, I think my downfall was catching something right at the very end and not backing up. So
your only gerb was to cover the information between 0 and 11:10, Scott.
Oh, really? Okay. How about, well, no, 12:15. No, that was it. 5:52 was it.
Okay.
Everything after that is after 11.
Okay, I'm going to go and do 11. I don't know why I bookmarked this, but I did.
And I think in line with what you're talking about there, I mean, it's a very, I mean, you and I talked about this before.
I know why I bookmarked it, because Badass just started talking.
If you have the curiosity, or you allow yourself to begin to satiate to an extent your curiosity, it will only continue to grow. Because you start to realize, oh, wow, I know basically nothing. And everything I continue to find out is more and more mind-blowing than the last thing. Or it might make something else that already blew my mind even more magnificent. Because I now find out that, oh, this one...
Mind-blowing.
Okay, 12:50. I started like you're at 11:48, so it's going to get even better.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, I think Mr. LPP there, La Pipi, is being very obtuse. For one thing, who has not said, I don't know anything? Wow, these new discoveries are awesome. Who hasn't said that?
Who hasn't said mind-blowing? Mind-blowing.
Yeah, mind blown. Didn't you experience my mind being blown just before we got onto this chat? What we were talking about, those filament things in the cell?
Oh, yes. Your mind was blown.
My mind was blowing. Those dendrites were firing, and I was going, wow. And
so you're going to church on Sunday then?
No, actually, I'm going to go see grandson.
You mean like find meaning in your life?
Yes. And my grandson's external to me as well.
He is. I don't know how an atheist finds external meaning in his life.
I don't know. How am I going to pull myself out of bed to be able to do that? Because there's just no long external purpose. But anyway, so, everybody experiences that. And it's not because of ID. It's not because of young earth creationism. It's because learning stuff for curious people is awesome and is a motivator. Learning that you're wrong can be a motivator. And so I don't know where he's coming from here. And the analogies, when you start hearing those that are about to be made, are quite strained.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So mind blown.
One thing that was incredible actually works in unison with this, and this. And then the macro function that they execute is even more like, are you kidding me? Yeah. That's what's at. Wow. And I honestly wonder how.
Wow.
People who want to restrict themselves to methodological naturalism and strict materialism. I'm like, just do you not realize the level to which you are having to willfully close your mind and limit your own curiosity?
And some people say, well, oh, your curiosity is going to be killed if you just, once you say, oh, this, it was created, therefore science stops. I'm just like, no. When some genius has built something far beyond anything that anyone can build,
okay. We got to unpack this shit.
Yeah, this is. I'm gonna try to not say the word BS.
Yeah,
it's a goal of mine. I know. I'm welcome to do that amongst our friends and acquaintances, but I'm gonna try not to. But yeah, these analogies here you're about to see are pretty poor.
Yeah, we'll. Okay, so Maddox made the point that if we limit ourselves to methodological naturalism, that it's unimaginative. There's something unimaginative about methodological naturalism, and this is how he thinks about evolution. Meaning, he does not think about evolution. He thinks about random something or the random chemicals or some stupid reductive idea of how it all happened. They always use that word random, which doesn't mean jack shit to, in science at all. And anyway, so now Sal goes on and he mentions that we often tell them that they lack imagination.
More fascinated by the architecture, by the genius theory. You want to study it. When anyone fascinated with technology, you just, because it's not junk, because it was created by great minds, you're fascinated to learn more about it.
Well, to claim.
Okay, so because that it was created by an omniscient God who doesn't exist in time, so he conceived of everything all at once, and he created everything with a magic wand. He waved a magic wand and spoke some words, and everything just started up right in the middle. That is less imaginative than looking at abiogenesis from phosphate rocks on prebiotic Earth, forming all these little cells and little laminae and clay and all of that. That is less imaginative to them somehow.
Yeah, it's just magic. It's like poof. It's like I did watch the Infinity War movies, and who's the guy with the 5 stones that snapped his finger and everything went away? That's the kind of magic we're talking about.
Right.
By introducing ID, you're saying, well, there's this area that we cannot and should not try to know, but because only God did it. And that's what's wrong with this analogy is he's comparing human activity to God activity and saying, because humans do it this way, then obviously God did things that we couldn't do. And I will try to find take a genius and find out how he does things and how he made something and the steps to solving a problem, and then it becomes easier for everybody else to make gains in knowledge through that. But there's nothing to look at from an ID perspective. God did something to this cell that we can't do and will never be able to do, and there's no mechanism to look for because the magic guy from the Marvel movie, whatever his name was, Thanos. Thank you, Eric. Thanos snapped his finger.
Yeah.
At each point, there's nothing to learn. There's nothing you'll be able to learn because magic, because miracle. And so it's just a bad analogy because you can't be, even if you are curious, you can never know.
So to get into their minds, okay. So he says, okay, we have to worship the genius of somebody that could create something like this. And we have to worship that genius. So he's talking about engineers. But then he will everywhere in his videos talk about how man hasn't been able to do this and man hasn't been able to do that. And this greater engineer. So the only way that he can appreciate life is to think that it was created by something that is like him, but greater, like a Superman. So it has to be super anthropic. And pure matter, random matter and chance is, it's just gray and the flesh. If the whole Christian mindset is that everything that is natural, that is, chemical and natural, is somehow reduced to this sickening gray pudding matter. And that's why I accuse them of being pudding heads. They think the world works like pudding, like it's all one big homogeneous stuff. And it just randomly created things. That is our idea. And the fact of the matter is that the natural world, and particularly this Earth at this in this temperature range, is the most magnificently complex thing that we could imagine. I mean, it is at the limits of our imagination how all of this stuff complexifies and how complexity works. And that's what pisses me off about Christians. They blaspheme nature. They blaspheme the world and physicality. Physicality is so much greater than their little brains can get around. They have to think that it had to be a man-like tool-making primate that created every fucking thing. What is wrong? And I just don't understand. So we obviously have very different mindsets about what we value. They only value man, and I value the universe, all of the cosmos. And they think all of the cosmos is just sickening flesh, sins of the flesh, matter. It just matter. And God, so I accuse them of blasphemy. I mean, they blaspheme the cosmos. Anyway,
interesting take. Yeah, I don't really go so far as to say they just they think they know other people's minds.
I go further.
I've never heard them. Yeah, I understand, and that's fine if you feel that strongly about it. I'm okay with that. But there's just a lack. I've not really heard too many creationists who claim to be really interested in science be able to straw man. I mean, they can straw man all day. Steel man, the atheist. Well, let's not even say atheist. The naturalist position on science. Maybe they can. Maybe they just don't want to. Maybe it'll make more sense, so they don't do it.
Yeah.
But
this whole thing with methodological naturalism, they accept that we have to use methodological naturalism in the present time going forward to figure out how cancer works and all that.
Yeah.
But there is a whole history, a 4.5 billion year history of methodological naturalism that we are trying to unwind all the way back to the beginning.
Right.
And that story is trillions of times bigger than the story of what is currently here. And he makes a case here about medicine shortly. I think we only have a few minutes.
Oh, yeah, that ridiculousness. But yeah, there's a bit of special pleading going on there.
Yep.
The insisting that, well, you have to insert God when you're studying things that happened in the past, but you don't have to when you're studying things now under their misnomer of operational versus historical science. I asked Gutsick Gibbon or anybody else who is a content creator to create a list and do some shows about words that creation scientists use that aren't really a thing in science. Sort of like, watch out for these words, and that should be interesting.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm sorry. I think I might have digressed.
We'll get back to that. We're almost done.
To claim that because you come to the conclusion that an intelligent agent was required, i.e. God, you would no longer have curiosity is the equivalent of saying that the Iranian scientists who have been reverse engineering American drones that crashed.
What happened to my video? Did you see that?
Well, sometimes it's backed up.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we're at 1320. Let me refresh.
You're fascinated to learn more about it.
Well, to claim that because you come to the conclusion that an intelligent agent was required, i.e. God, you would no longer have curiosity is the equivalent of saying that the Iranian scientists who have been reverse engineering American drones that crashed over there to try and replicate the technology are not curious in figuring out what went into it because they know that some American scientists built the original. That's what's being argued right now. In my opinion, that's what's being argued by that talking point we hear from the atheist crowd. Of like, how do you reach that conclusion? I mean, would you cease to try and figure things out? Well, or you wouldn't. You would still be curious. Okay, then what's your point?
Curious about what? About how God magic wanded it or worded it into existence?
Yeah, how God did something that there's no evidence for, that we'll never find evidence for, because he used the Mind Stone or the Time Stone or all the stones, and you know, yeah, the analogy is just not good because once again you have the problem. You're talking about things that humans have already accomplished, and you're wanting to look at the pathways, the circuits, what was already done, and try to copy it in order to make your own drones. Well, there in the analogy that there's nothing to see because God did it.
Well, that story that Nick Zentner, is it? Or yeah, Zentner.
Geologist, yep.
Yeah, that he put together about how Washington and Oregon formed. Where he's talking about going back 750 million years ago when there was no Washington and Oregon. But he talks about this like intricate story, and they have replaced it with a story that Noah's boat was floating on top of some tsunamis and a bunch of floodwaters slapped it all together. That's it. Floodwater.
Don't you picture Noah on a surfboard? His abs are just, you know, bronze color.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, dude, you know, big old beard, surfing Noah, and that's kind of, or maybe he was like Leonardo DiCaprio on Titanic. I'm king of the world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that on the like right when the ship sunk. On the end of his arc, blowing around on a 750-foot tsunami, but it all slapped together within like a month or so. Yeah. And like that is supposed to be a more interesting story than what Zentner came up with. I don't know.
And that slab of limestone right there in the middle of it is just, how do you explain that?
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, so we got to get to Danny's thing. I guess Danny did a thing on PhilTalk. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to have a busy night tonight. I need to watch that, and I want to watch Brain Bug's interaction with Otangelo.
Oh yes, yeah, that should be good. Because Brian is such a slow roll, but yet he can be pretty poignant.
Yeah, he's got wit. He's
Yep. Okay.
And by parallel, this has affected medical technology. I mean, it's hindered it. Thank God it didn't stop it. But if you think something is junk, are you going to? I don't go.
Thank God evolution didn't stop medical technology.
But it's in particular to study it.
Darn it!
If it's a junkyard, it's like, this is a wasteland. Why? And why would I study this when there are other things to study? The evolutionary mindset of trying to characterize the human genome as junk had hindered medical research.
Nobody does that. Nobody does that. We're in the hell. All of this stuff that Sal is discovering and Maddox is discovering, they didn't fucking discover it. Evolutionists, biologists who accept evolution are the ones doing all the work. They're the ones writing the papers. So they're criticizing the people that wrote the papers, but somehow the parts of the papers that they find appealing to their God plan are okay. But fuck the people that wrote the papers. They're idiots. They're brainwashed.
Well, back to the Icarus's original link there.
Yeah, bullshit. Yeah, bullshit.
But the thing I've noticed here about Sal is he can't keep the conspiracy theory stuff out of it.
Right, he can't.
He's got in his mind this picture of these evolutionists telling the medical community not to talk about junk DNA or to talk about, or not to say anything against junk DNA. I don't know what his point is. It's kind of incoherent, but but he's thinking there's some massive consortium of evolutionists that are directing medical research and science.
Yeah, and like he's going to start talking about the ENCODE project and Grower. And, Grower had a little spat because he didn't like the way the ENCODE project presented the results as everything was functional, right? Just because it was copied. ENCODE never meant to do that. I think they ended up using that term in a couple of press releases. And the whole point of ENCODE was to find out what all of this shit was doing, because what ENCODE is concerned about is what it is doing that kills us. Because all of that stuff slapped together, all of that crazy, that non-coding DNA frequently gets transcribed, and more frequently than anything else, it kills you. It creates cancer. We know we have a lot of cancer, as we age. The reason we have a lot of cancer is because all that shit out there is being transcribed and it's having an effect on you as you age. And that is what ENCODE was all about, is finding out what do all of these transcripts that we haven't identified a biochemical function for, what are they doing to us? So nobody, and that is using the idea of junk DNA or the what do I call it, workshop DNA, to show you how we can cure fucking cancer. That's what they're doing. That's what it's about. So he's got it reversed. Like, we're not looking at it. No, we're looking at it because it's being transcribed.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay, we got a few more minutes. We got 14 minutes to get through here. Yeah, I think at 17:20 he starts talking about commies.
One example of this in ENCODE. I mean, I said yesterday I felt their conclusion was premature, but it was in the right direction. And even if they were premature, even possibly wrong, they shouldn't have been.
There's nothing premature about it. They were able to come up with very sensitive instrumentation to find out what gets transcribed at even the level of one molecule, and that is the beauty of ENCODE.
Chastised for even putting out a hypothesis. It's not the business of evolutionary biologists to tell medical researchers what they can and cannot,
and they don't
deduce from their experiments. That's just terrible.
When did they ever do that?
At the last evolutionist consortium meeting,
they
have one in Washington D.C. in those smoky rooms behind Congress or something.
Right. And they get all the medical researchers, all the pharmaceutical companies, all in the parking lot, and they beat them with sticks and tell them not to look under that rock.
That's right. Don't you dare mess with those genes.
Right.
People are feeling pretty threatened and having to tone down their some of their public description of the genome. It's like, oh, we can't say that it's marvelous. We can't say that this is awe-inspiring. We can't say that it is even functional. We have to say it's junk. Otherwise, we're going to get called out by certain quarters of academia. Thankfully, what did happen is the outcry for finding.
I'm sorry, Foreskin. Can you just feel the paranoia and conspiracy just dripping?
Well, do you know what he was talking about? Him and Sanford, a few others, have submitted papers and tried to get published, and they sent him this rejection letter. And the rejection letter, Sal talks about it, and in one of the rejection letters, he said, "Oh yeah, they said I was right, but they weren't going to publish me, right?" Well, Ramat just released the rejection letter that he got. And in that rejection letter, it says, "We decided this is not in keeping with the trends, not what we want to publish in our journals." They very politely tell you that. And then at the end of it, they say, while your work is probably good and all this stuff. So they throw you a little bone at the end. Well, what Sal read, where he thought they were saying they were right, I'm pretty sure was that form letter, rejection letter, which very politely tells you to fuck off.
Yeah.
And he's burned by that because they wouldn't publish any of the shit that they've come up with, and that's the paranoia he's talking about. So
I've come to wonder about, well, maybe it's motivated reading. I don't know, but reading comprehension seems to be a big deal here.
It is.
For him.
Yeah. No, I don't know that for sure, but I'm pretty goddamn sure that is what Sal read into that form rejection letter. He can come out and he can show the actual letter that he got from them where they said he was right, but they're not going to publish him anyway.
I don't know. I don't know what the nature of the paper was, but if Raw Matt was in on it?
No, Raw Matt got, you remember the whole thing where Raw Matt pretended he got.
Yeah, he put PNAS on
right.
his paper in the watermark.
So Raw Matt actually submitted that paper and he got a rejection letter from him, which was a form letter, and he put it up on one of his videos. And I saw that, and now a totally separate discussion. Sal had sent a paper in a few years back and they rejected it. And Sal said that they told him that he was right, but they weren't going to publish it because it wasn't the kind of paper that they wanted to publish.
we don't need your stinking papers around here.
Yeah, so I think what Sal read was the form letter, and he misinterpreted it as one of these publications telling him he was right, but we don't want to publish you anyway. And what they were actually doing is trying to be polite, because they get papers, I'm sure, from 7-year-olds, and they send this nice polite form letter, right? We're sorry, we're just not going to publish it, and they don't. Yeah, they never tell you why. For Raw Matt, the reason they didn't publish it is because he centered all of the paragraphs. I mean, oh my god, and his math was bad, and it was juvenile, but now Sal tried to publish a much better paper than that, and he got rejected. So that's the point of me.
Don't they like have a probably a web page on their website, each journal, about format, what's it called? The manual of standards and formatting and
and attribution.
Yeah,
how you attribute papers and all that stuff. Sal's entry in American Loons is kind of funny.
I'm not quite sure what that is.
I don't know what that is either. Tell us, Stupid Horror Energy.
Yes, it's our superhero, Stupid Horror Energy.
We want to know. Okay, so rushing ahead.
Cures and treatments for things like cancer is so strong that we're just,
what just happened? Did you see that?
Disregard what you guys say.
Did you see what YouTube just did?
Yeah, was it some sort of catch-up thing?
I don't know. Got to refresh again.
And functional. We have to.
God damn.
Is to heal people. We will find the truth, and we're not going to sugarcoat it just to satisfy evolutionary biologists who want to call it junk. And I've often laughed. One of the evolutionary biologists who's pioneered all this crusade against the National Institutes of Health, it seems his mission in life is to prove his genome is junk. I just laugh.
Grar.
I just laugh at that. His mission is to prove it's junk, and he gets upset if other people don't view their genomes the same way.
Okay.
It is very ironic too, but it actually coincides with the necessity for atheism. You must remove any hint of ultimate purpose and intent for your own very existence that is not 100% predicated on you.
Who does that?
And I'm actually reading a book called The Naked Communist right now. It's extraordinarily fascinating book. I highly recommend it. But it's very interesting as they're diving into the psychology and the worldview of Karl Marx and Engels. And their entire foundation is the exact same as what we hear from the modern atheist. And obviously extrapolate out usually to evolutionary biologists and such. There must be no absolute moral objective. There must be no intelligent designer. There must be no external purpose. I was sitting there reading through the literal.
So basically, all atheists are communists.
That's what he seems to be implying.
That's kind of what he's saying. Yeah.
I don't understand why he's talking about communists. I don't know what the Marxists ever did as far as like rules they have to follow, but we're not following Marx's rules about how to think or how to be. We just don't believe in God, and we're living our life. And some of our participants, like in chat and others who watch these videos, may believe in God, but they're naturalists. So
hold up a second here.
I'm holding.
Oh, you go on and do what Phil did.
Okay, I'm looking at this Encyclopedia of American Loons, and there is an entry for a Salvador Sal Cordova. Here is hard words. Here's another slimy, dishonest creationist and liar for Jesus. Cordova's style is well exemplified here. And there's a link in a new tab. Oh, page not found. So he has made it in somebody's list, which is great. Well, it's nice that people notice him.
I'm back. My friend just stopped in and anyway, I won't even discuss that. Okay, we just had a protocol talk. Okay,
CCP. What CCP is? Talk about the Russians, Soviet Union, CCCP. Anyway,
CCP. Oh,
well, she said the boogeyman communists and this.
Oh yeah. The new boogeyman communist. Yeah, what the fuck? Like I grew up in that whole hate the communist era.
Yeah.
To the point where we all had our finger on the goddamn hydrogen bomb.
Mhm.
We really don't need that anymore. And
Hey, Top Dog.
and there's communism.
Oh, thank you, Stupid Horror Energy, for clarifying that.
Oh, she did. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So play some more.
Certainly.
Words of Karl Marx, and the
Wow, did it
I'm like,
again.
wow,
Okay, this is pissing me off.
Sometimes when I don't know exactly why, but like when I move my mouse away from YouTube,
obviously extrapolate out usually to
the bottom, the timeline will go back following the mouse.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on here. I have not had this happen before, but let's see if we can get back to
Sure.
There's a part here, and I think it was at 1720, where you got to watch Sal's expression when he's talking about communists.
biologists and such. There must be no absolute moral objective. There must be no intelligent designer. There must be no external purpose. Like, and I was sitting there reading through the literal words of Karl Marx, and I'm like, wow, I hear this exact same stuff from atheists on YouTube and evolutionary biologists have different standings, and it's like, well, that's kind of interesting.
Okay, watch that again.
Watch
his expression.
Standings, and it's like, evolutionary biologists have
Yeah.
standings, and it's like, evolutionary biologists have different standings, and it's like, well, that's kind of interesting.
Oh my God, these evolutionary biologists and communism. It just, I don't. Anyway, I think that was about it. We had something at 18.
Let me take a look.
And then we can open it up. I put the link in chat, so I did not send out any invites.
It's almost like a farce. They're so determined. We have one guy whose name shall not be.
Okay, we played that already, so we're done.
Go to 3902, or just to start out with 39.
39.
Where this is after, maybe after Nephilim, or towards the end of Nephilim's little screed there.
Okay.
And where of course Sal tries to make all these
good evening,
good evening,
or afternoon,
atheists and evolutionists.
Okay, so this is Biolek, right? The guy that wrote Biophysics.
Yes.
Okay.
Superhuman, unbelievable. Could run like we would have to be superheroes. We'd have to be Flash Gordon and Superman, mixed into one. And Stretch O2, might as well throw him in there. The Rock, we'd have to have those abilities. That nothing less will satisfy the God.
And that goes all the way back to Eden. That's where there's that root there. And I want
wait a minute. Now, could they run that fast in Eden? Like
apparently so. Apparently you were like like an Avenger or something back in Eden.
Someone named not our Erica, another Erica at MIT. She's saying how incompetent the designer was, and I said, well, so what do you think? Do you think it would be a good thing that the designer would kind of let you know you're not perfect and that you're not God? I mean,
yeah. Maybe
you need a reminder, because I wanted to say the way you're acting, it's telling me you really need a reminder you're not God, because you're acting like you're better than him.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
Oh, sorry if I sighed.
What the hell did he come up with there? That basically God created imperfections to remind you that you're not God.
Exactly.
That's almost like his thing that God created chimpanzees so that we didn't have to do medical experiments on humans.
Wait. Okay. I need to pipe in for a second, because God created us with imperfections. So I don't know. I mixed it up. It seems like God is narcissistic in a way.
Kind of, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're not going to be as good as I am. It's like we'll put you in your place.
But then that flies in another. Oh my fucking Christ! These Christians are pissing me off.
Well, you kind of cut me off a little bit, but I was talking about Sal has the idea that God created primates, chimpanzees, monkeys, etc., so much like us, because he wanted to have something that we could do medical tests on, so we didn't have to do medical tests on human beings. That is Sal's theory about why primates exist.
What the fuck?
And you might want to ask chimpanzees how they feel about that. Anyway.
I mean,
Okay.
he does know they've experimented on humans before, right? As well as animals.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know. I don't know how he accounts for that, but anyway, we did. Okay.
Well, so basically, what they're saying is when we point out things that could have been designed better, like the human eye or that laryngeal nerve in giraffes, this is their way of going, what do you want? You want to be able to like lift 100,000 pounds? Do you want to be able to run like a gazelle or a cheetah? Come on. And basically what we're saying is there are examples of better designed eyes out there. And what Sal is going and saying, well, see, you need these imperfections to get you closer to God, which isn't really an answer to the design issue anyway. So it's a diversion.
Yeah. Apologize to Stefan. So I put a thing over him. How can a perfect make non-perfect beings? Whatever. And Stephanie Trenton said, if you look deep enough, you will find that God is inside you. Of course, Stephanie, we know. We're Buddhists here. Well, some of us are. Should I go on, or should we? Are we done with this? Crazy man?
I think it keeps going. It just keeps getting better.
Does it?
Yeah, they're the ultimate judge of what God has created, huh? Yeah.
I wasn't going to show this video. It's just a title. And,
Oh, well, never mind. I think
it's just
it's
to
over.
highlight,
wrong.
It's over.
Yes, forgive me, YouTube. I was wrong.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but okay, Sal says that God created us with imperfections to to not be at His level, but then you have some Christians say, well, the reason why He created us with imperfections is so put us in the world is it's so we can learn, we can grow to be close to be like Christians all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
All right.
So Stefan Mud, we lost him. I don't know where he
Maybe
did.
having connection issues.
Yeah, he might have connection issues. So anyway, so there's that. And then I have not been keeping up with chat, guys. I'm sorry. But I guess Danny had a talk with somebody on his channel.
Stephen
PhilTalk?
Wall.
Stephen Law. Okay, and that was about. Does anybody know what that was about?
I'm not quite sure. This would be a good time for somebody who watched it to click on that StreamYard link and let us know kind of a synopsis of it. Because I'm very interested. I'm going to watch the whole thing later, but it's always good to get kind of a preview.
Oh, Province of Evil. Okay, so it was Province of Evil and more. Yeah, I don't know the whole argument about evil. I don't know. I don't pay much attention to it, but let's see. What are materialists denying, Stephanie?
Yeah, there's materialists deny that inner ... those feelings.
Materialists deny their feelings.
I know what she says materialists are denying to see if I've had those feelings.
Yeah, I don't know if I denied those feelings, Stephanie. You mean that feeling of being connected to all things and nature? The feeling I get?
To all things at one point or another, like there's no difference between me and the universe around me. Like you feel almost absorbed into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, when I read molecular biology and I go out in the woods and I feel a tree, I bring with me pretty much all that I can imagine about what's going on in all these little leaves and all these bugs in this amazing world and all of the geology beneath my feet. And I bring that imagination to it. And but you don't need to, because I've gone into the North Woods on little sabbaticals and walked miles and miles over the ridges in northern Minnesota, where all the pine trees and the beautiful lakes and rivers are. And I felt all those feelings. And I don't know what you mean, Stephanie. What feelings am I denying?
I think Stephanie is just being a poopy pants. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't think she's a poopy pants. I think she's just being poetic in nature.
Well, I mean,
to me, it's the fragrance of fresh flowers in the spring.
Well, speed of sound,
the breeze.
Speed of sound is more poetic than Stephanie.
Thank you. I don't I'm not sure if anybody would agree with you, but thank you. Anyway, so what
I
else?
mean, you and I are similar. That's why That's why
Yeah.
I agree with you. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, God, you can go on about that stuff. I don't know. My mind was blown. Well, I don't do that to my mind so much, but
I
Well,
mean, my
my
mind is blown. My mind is blown all the time by just looking at the world.
yeah.
My mind started blowing when you were talking about the tree, and then I realized inside the bark and other parts of the tree were cells, and cells are these magnificent, complicated, three-dimensional things with that touch down almost to the quantum level. It's just
Well, no,
It's-
no, it's not
it's-
almost to the quantum level. It is the quantum level.
I said almost because I don't know much about quantum stuff. But
Well,
yes,
that's fair. That's fair. But yeah, even though Leo is the quantum guy, I've learned enough about it to know that at the core, everything is quantum states. You just you just don't really see them because of what the fuck is it? Oh, Planck's constant, being like what 6.28 to the times 10 to the negative 34 power. There's something I forget the number, but yeah. Planck's,
Okay.
the Planck constant. Go ahead.
What was that video that you just linked to me, Scott?
it was that Briolac. You talking about that one?
No, it was another video with the cells, with the thing that blew your mind about cells.
That was from it was either stated clearly or stated casually. That was the video he put out today or yesterday. And then it was about the Henrietta Lacks. I think that's the right name. Those cells that they use for cancer research.
Okay.
And
Those cells are pretty interesting.
what we were seeing was these electron microscope images that were just very vital and everything.
Yeah, it's those cells are really weird when you think about it because they're essentially immortal after the host dies. Usually the cancer dies with the host. But for some reason those cells, I don't know, they're immortal. But the only way to stop them is to freeze them. Now there were of course many ethical concerns with that. It's like this woman died and you just steal her cells. But see, the way I see it, those cells have helped more people in the long run. You know what I mean? Because because they allowed us to understand how cancer works better.
So, what was the name of the video, Scott?
Scott is.
Look in your text message.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's where you. Okay, that's where you put it.
By the way, who's the one without a screen with a blank screen? Like
Stefan. Hi,
That
Stefan.
might be Stefan having issues or something.
oh, well, this should be interesting.
Let's see. Let me try to find that video. There it is. Oh, can a species devolve? That one, right?
Yeah.
Can a species? Okay, I think it was about right here that we were looking at it. Okay, let me try to share that because you're. Well, you talk about it, Scott. What your impression was. Okay. And where the hell is it?
It's a little further along to the right. It was that green and purpley or maybe red looking thing. The blue was the nucleus and green was those filaments, which
So
even though you talked about cotton or whatever yesterday, I just never pictured it.
Yeah.
That.
Let me go ahead.
There we go.
Okay, right here. Yeah. So this is the inside of a cell. I can't. I don't have any contacts for what it is.
Those are inside of cells. I think he said those blue items were the nuclei.
Okay.
If anybody knows better, please.
Yeah, and the orange is the endoplasmic reticulum. And anyway, yeah, cells are typically stuffed with microtubules, intermediate filaments, and one other thing, I think microfilaments or whatever. They're stuffed
Yeah.
with all these polymers that are like cotton, and that keeps cells divided into regions. So that, like what I was talking about yesterday, where the neural tube is formed, because on one side of the cell it starts to constrict, but the other side of the cell stays the same. And if these things are all stuck together in a line, it will end up forming an invagination or a tube, and then it seals together at the top, and that is what becomes your spinal cord and your brain. That's how it develops. And the reason that the cell constricts at the top and not at the bottom is because this thing is stuffed with these filaments, and there's a diffusion of different proteins across the whole cell. So it divides the cell into its own neighborhoods. And inside the nucleus, we have more of that stuff with that. Those little fine filaments are laminin, form at the surface of the nucleus, and they attach to the chromosomes, and they divide the chromosomes into their own regions. And so they have territories. So each chromosome, there'll be 2 chromosome 2 territories and 2 chromosome 3s, etc. And that has an effect on how the genes express. And it's all very cool, has a lot to do with these filaments. Now, further than that, these cells actually exude these proteins that create these filaments, and we have something called extracellular matrix, which also affects how organisms develop, how cells stick together, how organs stick together, and all of that. So, yeah, it's quite complicated.
What about mitochondria in there? I mean, usually in the diagrams of cells, I remember seeing back in high school or even junior high, they would show a nucleus. They would have these little dots in there, and then they'd show look like a jelly bean sometimes.
Yeah, they're peppered everywhere, but you can't see them in this particular illustration, probably because they didn't color them. But
colorize it.
Cells are amazing.
Yeah, here we have regions of cells, and the different shapes of cells. Those filaments defined, like in plants. The cell wall has a lot of effect in the shape of plant cell, but also the inside the cells are shaped by these filaments. So it's kind of like being stuffed with cotton. And if you can imagine, if you have a cotton ball and you have a little eyedropper full of blue dye, and you drop one drop on a piece of that cotton ball, you'll see that at the point where you drop it, it's very dark blue, and then it diffuses out and becomes lighter and lighter blue. Well, a lot of proteins function that way, and that they will only have an effect in a particular territory in the cell. So anyway, I'm done.
Yeah, this next thing is quite interesting. In fact, why don't you hit play? This is where he's saying that these cancer cells.
Don't forget to unmute.
Huh?
Don't forget to unmute.
Oh, okay.
You were talking?
Yeah,
no, I was just saying the video is muted. If you want to listen to what he says, you got to unmute the video, no?
Yeah, I also have to restart the video because I did not start it with sound.
Fair enough.
I know that's fair. Okay, so now I've restarted that, and now I have to put my headphones on, switch over the old. I got to turn the crank and change it from one audio device to another.
I guess I could just summarize it, although I don't know that I would summarize it very well.
Okay, so where do you want me to play at?
I think just starting right there.
Okay, we'll try it.
Another electron microscope image. That shows
I can't hear it. You know why? Okay, so there's going to be a shitstorm after I unmute. Nope, everything's cool.
Three-dimensional structure of the cells. This used to be one HeLa cell that just recently split in two. Above it here, I have the name Helicyton gartleri, which is a proposed species name for these cells. And the reason that some people say that we should consider these HeLa cells to be their own species is because they have evolved so much in the laboratory that they will actually infect petri dishes where they were not supposed to be. And so they can actually spread and reproduce on their own inside of a unique environment. I mean, it's the environment of the laboratory, but that is their specific niche or niche that they have evolved to survive inside of. And so some people say we need to consider this to be a brand new species of organism. I really like that idea. I think we should consider this to be its own new species. This would be an example of what scientists would call loss of function evolution. But I think it's really cool. I do not like the name that they chose for it. First of all, it ignores Henrietta, and it also hides the actual genus that it came from, which we are the genus Homo sapiens, right? So I think that we should actually call it Homo Henrietta. If I were naming it, I would call it Homo Henrietta. But yes, I do agree. We should consider this to be its own unique species. I think this is awesome.
Okay, you
So
can
there
pause
you
it
go,
right
Jessica.
there.
Is devolution?
Okay.
Yeah, I just thought that was very interesting. I don't know that you can, even though it comes from humans, I don't know that you can name basically one-celled organism Homo, but
I think it's fair.
oh, you do? Well, yeah, I just don't know what to think about it, and maybe I missed it, but that was an electron microscope image, not just like a CGI of
Yeah.
the heliocentric. That fuzzy outlook is nothing like I ever pictured a cell being. So I guess I have a lot to learn about cells, but it's just fascinating.
That video that I got the copyright claim for, where I was trying to show what real cells look like. I'm going to try to get some stills from that and put them up, because this guy has an incredible new technique for looking at cells alive in real time. And that's what the video was about. His lab and what he's doing. He's coming up with these more realistic pictures about what it looks like. And it does not look like a factory or a machine. It looks like something far more incredible than anything any intelligence could have made. So, because intelligence is only so-so.
Mm-hmm.
Complexity is much better at making shit. So,
yeah.
Anyway, what else we got?
That was just a fascinating video.
Yeah.
I just wanted to share it with the world.
Yep. So, other topics. I was amused listening again to Danny and Peter last night. That was a pretty interesting interchange.
Unfortunately, I stopped the video right when Peter said that philosophy was mental masturbation. I knew it was going to heat up.
Hold on, which Peter are we talking about? Peter, gotta go for it?
Gonna go for it, Peter. Yep. Peter,
I need to have a talk with Peter one of these days, because not all philosophy is mental masturbation.
Okay, now Midnight. Here's how this works, and here's what this is about. Now, Danny came in and he asked. He changed the subject entirely, and basically he asked Peter what his rationale was, or what his moral ism was, and Peter said, "I don't fucking have one." Okay, so Peter did not want to be classified as having some moral ism. Now, if Peter had said that he was of a particular persuasion, he had some particularly meta-ethical ism that applied to his morality, then Danny would have started to present arguments against that. And that's what philosophers do. And then you present arguments against the arguments, and then arguments against the arguments against the arguments cubed and on and on and on. Okay. And that's all they fucking do. And Peter at one point said, you know what? That kind of bores me, and I'm not interested in one argument after another. All I have to know about my morality is that I fucking have it. And I can intuitively access it when I need to, when I end up with a moral problem. And that is the difference. And that's why people will get impatient with philosophers, because they never get anywhere. I mean,
sorry to interrupt you.
And
this
oh my
is,
God,
You're one of the
hold
biggest
on.
provisionaries
Hang on,
I've ever
shut the
heard.
don't come in fucking hot.
I'm
okay?
coming in hot because you're just.
No, hold on a sec. Hold on. Speed. I love you, man, but I got to say something.
Yeah.
This is literally why I dislike Danny. Okay? Because
he comes
it's
in
his
hot.
bullshit. Not even just this. It's his bullshit that turns people off from philosophy. I'm done.
Okay, now, Danny, when you come in, don't start talking right away. Listen, feel the room. Feel the room.
Yeah, your commands are not reason giving, so I don't know what you're saying.
Hey,
but the point Yes, Scott.
Danny, why don't you give us an overview of what you thought about your video with Stephen Law, and then we can go into the other arguments.
Yeah.
I mean, all I was doing on that AMA is just getting Steve. Like I was just squeezing Stephen Law for what he represented, and he's excellent on the problem of evil. I think he's an excellent communicator. And if you're interested in the problem of evil, you should watch that AMA. I've already divided it into chapters, so you can skip things you're not interested in. He talks, to your interest, Speed, he talks about anti-theism. He is a kind of anti-theist, so he speaks to that.
Cool.
Yeah, it's divided into chapters for anyone that wants to jump to specific topics and with it.
Well, I look forward to looking at it, and why don't we get a shortcut to that stream? While y'all are talking, I'll find it and put it in the.
I found it. It's in chat.
Oh, okay, man, people are faster than me.
I mean,
I'm a professional.
Okay, yeah, got those professional values.
I'm a professional.
Oh, how do you spell Stephen? PH? Okay.
PH, right. Do you want me to link it somewhere, or y'all got it?
I already linked it. It's in chat, and it is going into the description as we speak. Okay. So yeah, that should be pretty interesting. I will give that a listen this afternoon. Probably talk about it on Saturday night.
Yeah, it'll be. I think he's someone that atheists should definitely pay attention to.
Yep. And is he an atheist, or is he?
Oh yeah. Oh, he's a hard atheist. Yeah. In fact, I just said that he's an anti-theist. It's hard to be a theist and also be an anti-theist.
That would be, but you never know what kind of fucking varieties of people we have out there.
Okay, one more thing, Danny. Jerry Penna keeps saying, Danny, did you not see my question?
What was the question?
Jerry, what was the question? Okay, of course, he's listening to us both at the same time, so never mind. What's the question, Jerry?
Let's see, Danny, did you see my question? Okay, so interesting. I'm going back. Okay, here. See, Danny was just trying to get to know Peter better.
Yeah, that's all I was doing.
I don't think he was trying to get. Yeah, I know. But some people, Peter didn't react to it the way you wanted him to.
Yeah, he didn't understand the question. Just like Midnight doesn't understand anything I'm saying.
No, he understood the question perfectly. He was just rejecting.
He didn't know what I was asking.
He was rejecting it.
How could you reject something you don't understand? This is a Midnight special as well.
No, he understood what you were asking. He understood what you were asking, and he rejected.
No, he did not. He did not understand what
okay. That's the part that you don't get, Danny. Is when somebody understands you and they don't agree with you. Okay, when somebody understands you and they're going another way.
Let me give the evidence. Let me just give the evidence, right? I asked him.
There's no evidence. I listened to the video myself. So
well, okay, then you would know that when he replied or attempted to, when he replied, he said, "I think that X is wrong," but to give examples of what he took to be evil is not getting the question that I was asking. I was asking about the truth conditions for what is right and wrong.
I'm looking for Jerry's question for you.
Basically, he wanted to know.
On the particularism stuff. No, I did. Okay, so Jerry, there was like, okay, the contextualism is epistemology. He doesn't know any epistemology. I remember debating, but I could have asked him about more particularism, but he doesn't have a view on, and he doesn't take a view on any meta-ethic. So that's why I didn't answer. I saw your question. I deliberated. His specialty is not epistemology, nor is it morality. He's into metaphysics and okay. So that's why I didn't ask the question. I'm sorry that I didn't. It was a good question. I don't think he would have been prepared to answer it.
Okay, so what is American Loons, by the way? Stupid Horror Energy was talking about it.
American Loons is basically crazy people, I guess. I don't know.
Is that the encyclopedia of American Loons?
Yes.
It's a real thing, and Sal is in there. I'm not endorsing it or saying what it says is true.
Sal is in there?
People, but yeah, he has an entry in there. Where is my? Did I take that down?
I'm so hidden. I'm hidden.
You're hiding from us?
So,
no, I'm not. Speed is hiding me behind Jerry's comment.
Okay, Andrew, you left. We're going to talk tonight on a couple of things. I'm hoping Lines and Signs with Dr. Dan tonight at 7 o'clock, I believe, Central Time.
All right.
And Andrew coming.
There's a link to American Loons, that article in the private chat.
Private. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Really? He actually made it? That's pretty good.
I
He
mean,
was awfully young in that picture.
Yeah, he started in college with he actually was on the cover of some major magazine because he started this creationist thing in college. Now he claims to have been an evolutionist sometime in between then, but I don't know when he had time for it because I've looked at his stuff going back quite a ways. I'm not sure.
by the way, saying evolution makes it sound like you're saying evil, like evolution.
Oh yeah, it is evolutionist. Well, because we don't want medical technology to advance.
Well, I always pronounce it as evolution.
I call it evolution because we evolutionists don't want science to advance. Lest you find out,
that's fucking ironic.
lest you find out that naturalism is a thing, right? We don't want that, do we?
Basically, we're not. Well, I guess I didn't accuse us of not being curious, but almost like, because we can't feel the amazement about science that they can. So anyway, Danny, I was going to ask you one more question. When you were on with Digital Gnosis, do you feel like you got what you wanted to out of that conversation?
I'm not a fan of Pine Creek, so.
Okay.
But no, and Nathan. Well, that was a little bit of drama, but no, I just went on there because I was during my planning period at work and I didn't have anything else to do.
Okay. Cool.
When was that little exchange and what channel was that on?
That was on Digital Gnosis. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Scott.
Oh, you go. You can tell it.
It was yesterday. Digital Gnosis. They were talking about their experiences, their negative experiences with Christianity, and so we talked about basically like anti-theism. We talked a little bit about that. I started talking very briefly to Pine Creek, who just hand waved me. And so there was a little scuffle there, but we got over it. And then it was a fine conversation afterward.
I don't know what Digital Gnosis is. Is it spelled like you would think it would be spelled? And is it one word or two?
I'm going to link it for you right now. I'm going to link it in the chat.
Gnosis with Gnosis. So it's Digital Gnosis.
One word or two?
What's his last name? Do you remember his last name?
I found it.
I just linked it. His name is Nathan, though, right?
Yeah,
okay.
It's a good channel. He has very long streams sometimes, and he doesn't break them up or give smaller excerpts from them. So I don't watch his stuff a lot, but when it's when I have an interest or whatever, I will watch his portions of his videos and stuff.
Oh, you linked the channel, but which video is it? Jordan,
it is conversation number 11, open mic number 11.
Got it.
Found it? Okay.
Got it. I will put it in the description. Okay. Cool. Let's see. What do we have here about Sal? He is neither the most influential nor the stupidest of creationists, but he is probably the most vile and dishonest. He has absolutely no scruples concerning quote mining, twisted misrepresentations, and blatant, bald-faced lying, which, that's kind of what I'm finding. That's a pretty scathing review. I don't know.
Wow.
And I had heard of that from other sources about some of his earliest dealings. He is very young there. So anyway, let's see. So Digital Gnosis. Cat, you're going to fall off the goddamn table and it ain't going to be pretty because you're going to grab me on the way down.
Is that your cat?
Yeah. Yep. The one I ate. He's back.
Oh my gosh. I don't know how he came back.
Yeah. It's one of those pet cemetery kind of things that happen here. And it ain't pretty. But okay. All in the description. So we'll have to check that out too. Cool.
Well,
what else is happening
today? A lot of content coming out of here.
Yeah, I have nothing else. I
have something.
What do you got? Oh,
a channel called Minute Physics.
Oh,
nice. I love these guys.
Makes it really simple. Diagrams through stick figures and stuff to understand the universe.
Cool. So,
and then I have another channel that's Z Frank 1, I guess. He has
Z Frank, yes.
A series called True Facts. He's like a comedian that does it in a good way to understand the nature of these creatures.
Do you get copyright strikes for playing his stuff? Because
yes, maybe, I don't know. Because I watched this one a little while ago on Deception in the Rainforest, and there's a part. Can you find the part with the dog that looks like a bumblebee? It's probably about maybe 3/4 of the way through.
A dog that looks like a bumblebee?
Yeah. Go to the part where the bumblebees are. Where is it? Okay, right there, I think. Pretty close. Just play it for a minute.
There's a lot of fakers out there that don't have pointy butts like the bee do, but want in on the protection. Some beetles are okay at it. Guys, they're all in. Hundreds of species of hoverflies mimic everything from yellow jackets to
Pause on the
bumblebees
dog.
to the skinny-waisted mud dauber wasps. You can see how all these fakers could really screw up the whole predator education.
Well, it was too fast.
That dog looks so bummed. He's like, "Oh, why do you do this to me?"
Poor dog. The fuck.
Yep, they got a laugh out of me. God, this guy is great, Z Frank. So we should also put that content in our description because
that's a cute little, big old dog.
Can you possibly give me some links there in private chat, Doug, on Minute Physics and this?
Yep.
That's what
right now.
Yeah.
Oop. Stop sharing.
Cool.
So what are we doing now, gentlemen?
I don't know what we're going to do now. I think Stefan Mud has been in here, but has not said a word. We're waiting for wisdom. And
wow. Yes. Stefan, tell us about your day.
Oh, ow.
All the way from Norway. So it's my first time on StreamYard, so I'm just testing it out.
Oh, it's not too bad. I'm going to crank your mic up a little bit.
Yeah. Now, we came across this show some time back, and we are a tiny group in Norway who's starting to fight some young Earth creationist organizations that popped up the last couple of years.
Yep.
So we use you guys as a basis to find scientific papers and ideas and tips and tricks. So thanks a lot.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for actually using our stuff. That's pretty cool. But if you got any links that you want to put out or advertise so we can get you on the radar, put them in. In fact, if you make a little comment in public chat, I'll make you a mod, and then you can link anything you want, and we can take a look at some of your stuff. We'd love that.
Yeah, thanks. I'll look into that.
Okay.
Put up something.
Yeah,
you guys just go ahead and I'll listen.
Yeah, and just say something in public chat. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm looking. Am I on the right damn thing? Yeah, no, I haven't seen it yet. Anyway, I'll make you a mod as soon as I can, and then you can plug some stuff, and we'll check it out. And I'm still not getting anything. I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know. There you are. No, that's Jerry.
Danny. I don't know.
Danny.
I have to make sure that there's no revisionary stuff that Speed's doing, so that's why I'm sticking around.
Okay, so
revisionary.
Oh yeah, I got it. Yeah, that whole thing with Peter last night, I understood perfectly where Peter was coming from, and I understood where you were coming from, and I don't understand why you don't understand both as well.
Why you're asking? What explains why I don't understand Peter? No, I think.
Well, don't understand his reaction to your questions when he said
he didn't understand my question.
No, he understood your question.
Wait, then why did he give an example as a result of the question?
Well, because you kept questioning him, and then he started getting confused by why you were oh my godding and all of that stuff instead of just conversing with him. You asked him basically what ism he subscribed to in morality.
No, I told him.
And he said he didn't.
You didn't listen. I said, these are examples. I understand that if you don't want to label yourself, but the point is of the examples that I gave was to, can I get an idea of what kind of question I was asking?
Okay.
I literally said that. The guy, you're better off talking about like dogs or something. I'm never going to engage with him again on philosophy ever.
I just want to say, talking about dogs is a fine pursuit. So we're not anti-dog here. Dogs are huggable and lovable. I'm pro-dog. I'm dog positive. I just had to say that. Go ahead and continue.
Scott is no way being threatened by a dog right now.
Brenda, Leo, and that other ogre. What's his name? We were all frustrated with him. I mean, it wasn't. I'm surprised that you.
No, Orge wasn't frustrated with him. Brenda
he
was
was.
frustrated.
He said no. Orge said
Brenda
that he was
was.
being dishonest at some point. Something like.
Do you have a timestamp?
Yes, I do. Let me get it.
He's being dishonest. Let's see.
I'm sorry, disingenuous. Disingenuous was the exact word that he used.
Oh yeah, okay, I remember that part. Yeah, and I can't remember what it was in response.
Because
to
when I remember, this is what happened. I said, "Can I answer your question?" And he said, "Yes." I answered his question. I thought, "What do you think about it?" And he said, "It glazed over. I glazed over it. I'm just not interested." And it
and I understood that perfectly too. Why he would not be interested in the answer that you gave him. So
here's my question though. I had to go do some stuff. So the words that came out of Peter's mouth were that he considers philosophy to be more like mental masturbation. Then I hit pause. So what was the temperature of the room and what was the reaction after that?
Brenda got a little upset, I think.
Well,
like literally mad at Peter. So, and it started to go back and forth and kind of degenerated. And I don't know. And I think it pretty much ended shortly after that. So I don't know.
Well, I think I didn't watch the thing. I didn't watch it. I don't know if you can link it. Maybe I will. Was it on Peter's channel?
It was on our channel. This channel.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, we had a talk. It was blowing off steam on Friday, blowing steam.
Yeah.
And then his discussion with Leo was just made my ears bleed, man. About worldview, I mean, it made my ears bleed.
Yeah, some of that I wasn't agreeing with Leo too much on at all. But I can't remember where Leo was. What was Leo's position?
Well, okay, I only understand.
Or maybe I did agree with
him. What he was rejecting was this idea that to have a worldview implies some kind of impact on how the world is, right? That's what Theo was rejecting. Whereas Peter was making a weird claim that like a worldview has an impact on reality. And I tried to okay, what you mean here, Peter, is something like your worldview impacts the way you see reality or way you perceive it. Peter deliberately rejected that charitable interpretation. I mean, it was just horrible. It was all horrible.
I mean, view how you view the world. That also implies how you perceive events and information.
That's how Leo and
shockingly, I agree with you.
Yeah, we were.
I know, shocked.
He was saying gibberish, like the guy was saying pure gibberish, right? Peter was. And Andrew, you ask a ton of questions of creation myths and all the science people, but the reason why you don't understand me is because you never ask any questions about what I'm saying, right? So that's why you're confused. Okay.
Who are you addressing?
Andrew.
Who's that in
the chat? Without giving a crap about the underlying philosophy, do you even know what you're talking about, Andrew? I work very hard to explain myself, work very hard. And you've never asked me to elaborate on anything. And then you're just making claims about me not giving a crap about quote unquote underlying philosophy. What the hell does that even mean?
Well, you're basically crap at this, So I think that's where you're running.
I don't know what that means.
you're not very good at it.
What does that mean?
You are not under. Basically, your intent does not line up with the intent or the wishes of the person you are having an exchange with, and that's why you were called Darth Dawkins.
That's not sufficient for good.
Because you can't read a room. You don't know how to read a room, and you don't know how to read the person you're talking to. So you start delving into things, and then when they come up,
poor Andrew, I misinterpreted him. Poor Andrew, I take everything back. I'm not
talking about Andrew. I'm talking about Peter again. But
yeah, but Peter.
Yeah, but there's no need to be condescending.
No,
yeah, there's no need to be
condescending. Look, put the 321 comment, and I'll tell you how I read it. I got really offended because it read something different. It says, Danny, you can make lots of philosophical claims without giving a crap about the underlying philosophy. He was telling me one can make lots of philosophical claims without giving a crap. Yeah, he was actually, if anything, in support of what I was saying. So I am so sorry I went after you. But you understand that I thought you were making a criticism of me. But I don't understand. Speeds, look, failure doesn't mean that if you fail at something, doesn't mean that you can correct, right? That you're blameworthy. A teacher can do everything to get their students to succeed, but if the student still fails because they stayed up all night playing Call of Duty, that's not the blame doesn't lie within the teacher. So I really think that there are very few people that I talk to that I would blame for not understanding me. But Peter was just being obtuse, absolutely dense. And it wasn't Leo's fault. It wasn't Brenda's fault. It wasn't anyone's fault except for Peter.
No, it wasn't Peter's fault at all. Peter did not want to have that conversation, the ism conversation. And you came in and you created that conversation.
I already addressed that.
Now, when he didn't go along with it, you got all upset about it. And then Brenda got upset. And now you're kind of doing the same. But do you agree?
Okay. Why are you repeating yourself?
Do you believe that some teachers are really good teachers and other teachers are mediocre and other teachers are really bad? Is that a possibility? That teachers vary in their ability, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Good.
Okay. Glad you're just a bad student. I'm not.
Wait a minute. Now, if you had a really shitty teacher who thought all of his students were bad, like not just me, Peter, how many other people have you talked to?
I've talked to hundreds of people. Hundreds of people on Discord. Hundreds and hundreds of people look to me to explain things very simply, right? And I'm telling you, you're one of the few
sometimes
that don't understand me.
Sometimes you're really good at it. Like when we had the talk with the mathematical papers, you did a really good job of explaining a few things.
Yeah, because you weren't motivated to disagree with me.
But when you come onto my stream and you start interrogating and doing your Darth Dawkins thing, that's where you're a shitty
Darth Dawkins thing. What are you talking about? You're the one that's Darth Dawkins. You kicked me out. You overtalked
self-awareness.
me. You let John Peterson abuse me.
No,
right?
No. You said that you thought Darth Dawkins controlled the conversation, and explained to you that he does. People have explained to you that he doesn't. You agreed with my explanation, of what controlling a conversation means, but Darth Dawkins does not do that.
I gotta disagree. I gotta disagree with Midnight. Darth Dawkins controls the entire conversation. So does Danny. And if Danny can't control the conversation, then he starts talking over everybody.
Hold on. I explained to you what controlling the conversation, not to you personally. I explained what controlling the conversation means, right? It means knowing exactly what to say. It means knowing exactly what to say and when to say it. In the conversation, like. If Darth Dawkins was really good at this, you know what I mean? He wouldn't have the reputation he has. So he's not in control of the conversation.
I guess we're talking past each other. What I mean by controlling the conversation is something different than what you're saying.
Yeah, like when we had that 1 hour talk on, where I was trying to explain to you where I come from when I talk about morality. And at the end of it, you started saying you didn't understand. And I think you did understand me. At least you
that just means
it's
incoherent. What you're saying is incoherent. That's what I mean when I say I don't understand.
Oh my God, what a little prick you are. I think I'm just going to get rid of you, Jenny.
Bye.
Yeah, goodbye.
Danny's just too occupied by his profession. he doesn't manage to think further than what is read in his books. That's what he's trying to do
Profession.
all the time.
I think so.
I have my doubts. You know,
Yeah,
there's actually a teacher's aide or whatever the fuck.
I don't know.
Seems like it.
Yeah, it tends to be like there's one way to look at that, and it's with a certain class of philosophy or a certain philosophical rhetoric that you will find books filled with everywhere. And there are some of us that kind of want to make some progress. And I take a purely naturalistic view of all of it. And I come at it from, okay, we got two organisms squeaking at each other. What are they squeaking about?
They can't squeak about if there's no aboutness.
What's it all about, Danny? What's it about?
Look, they can't squeak about anything if aboutness is non-natural.
But you can.
Oh
look
my
at,
fucking
oh
Christ!
my God, you can, Danny, and that's where I flesh out about aboutness naturally.
Well,
and
then
show
there's no
you
aboutness.
exactly
It's,
how it
it's
works.
reduced. It's reduced.
No, it is constructed. You've got it backwards, and that's what you're not understanding.
Constructed doesn't. What do you mean by constructed?
Okay, if you reduce something to its elements, then you have its elements, right? If you go the other way, what are you doing?
You're still a reduction. You're still reductions are identity statements.
Oh my God, no, they aren't.
Okay, then are you just equivocating a reduction then? Are you using one of your proprietary definitions of them?
If you reduce something to sets of parts, right? And then you categorize those parts, you do not have the constructed whole. You do not have the emergent property.
Look, let me just give you an example of what reduction is.
Are you going to use?
You just don't know what you're talking
bacon?
about. Let me give an example, right? Okay, take a pizza. A pizza, if you say the whole pizza is just the 6 parts put together, right? Then that means that the 6 parts put together is the whole pizza. It's an identity relation.
There's a relationship between the parts, are there not?
Look, reduction is a kind of an identity claim. Okay, the relationship is that of identity when you reduce.
Right, when you reduce, but what happens when you construct?
That is not a term that I've ever heard in this context. So you're going to have to be clear about what you mean by the term. Not give an example. Tell me the meaning.
When you're looking at emergence, okay, when you look at the brain is basically we can reduce the brain down to a bunch of neurons firing or whatever, right? We have a reductive statement. So that is a conceptual statement, something that you would do in language.
That's not a conceptual statement.
Are you gonna fucking disagree with every goddamn little phrase in my
almost
sentence?
Everything you say is false. Literally, it's amazing.
Did you not ask me what I meant by construction?
No, you're not even. You're giving me an example. I just want to know what you mean. Don't tell me. Don't paint a picture. That's confusing.
There's no way to do anything without examples.
I'm asking another way of what I'm asking for is just a definition. If I ask what's the definition of a bike and you point out something in the world and point to it, that's not giving a definition. I want to know what you mean.
That's a pretty fine way to define a bike is by pointing at one.
Look, the point is that if I give an example, it's like if I say
now, if I give you a definition of a bike, okay, is the definition going to be as rich and giving as the bike itself?
I don't know what that means.
Okay, good. I'm done with you. I'm done with
definitions.
Let me elaborate. Right? You're missing my point, right? And maybe it was a bad example that I gave. Look, the example is just this, right? What is a bike? And if I ask you, what do you mean by bike? And you say the thing that Neil Armstrong, what's the other guy? Louis Armstrong rides on for his races. That is not giving me the definition. That's how you respond to any of my questions in terms of what you mean. You just give me an example or some kind of narrative. I'm not interested in that. I'm asking for the meaning.
Oh, you're not interested? That's rude. I'm done with you, Danny.
Yeah.
Does anybody else want to talk to Danny?
He's asking for a more accurate definition.
Just prey on easier people like Tangelo. Maybe that will suit you.
Oh wow,
Danny, you're actually easier than Tangelo.
Well, then respond to me, dumbass.
I'm done with you.
Whoa, relax, buddy.
Yeah, fuck you, Danny. I'll put him in the corner for a while. He's still in the back room, but I might let him back in. But anybody else want to talk to Danny? Because I'm done with him.
No. I can't do the Venezuela, whatever the fuck voice.
Yeah, there is no getting anywhere with some people because they don't listen and try to wrap their minds around what you're trying to present. And
Trust me, I know that feeling.
like when it gets down to the point where he's complaining about every subphrase in my sentence and every word in my sentence, and when I'm trying to get out a what do you want, a definition? I was trying to sketch in the concept, and it gets nowhere. It goes nowhere. So I'm done with them.
Were you going to go farther than just the concept? Were you going to say like it means two wheels? And
well, the thing about, okay, if you point out something in the world, right? The idea of reduction, like if I take a bike and I reduce it to words, to phrases, to a language, to a diagram, I have reduced it in some fashion to these things. I'm telling you that the bike is identical to these things, right? Some idiot reductionist would say it's identical. They say there's an identity theory. Okay. Now, as a strong and strict naturalist, I will point at the bike and say, that is a bike. Okay. And if you have a bike, that bike it has something called giveness, basically. It has a richness of what it is that you can construct, basically, a complete picture or a more careful definition of it. So it's constructive rather than reductive. You start with the actual thing, with the actual nature of physicality, and you construct whatever is emergent. Is that any clearer? Probably not. But I think a whole video on this shit would be there. But anyway, I call it greedy reduction. When you say shit like the mind is identical to the brain or to the neurons or to the firing or whatever, I call that greedy reduction. And that is pretty stupid, because you can't say that things are identical to the chemicals that compose them, because the chemicals that compose them are in a spatial temporal relationship with everything else. And not only that, but time doesn't work at a nanosecond. Time works across a broad little swath of time. So that's what you got to understand when you're talking about emergence. That's how emergence works. Now, in principle, you could detail every single molecule of that bike and every relationship it has, right?
I don't think we need to go that far.
Yeah, I know because you're not going to get any closer to what a bike is than by me pointing at the bike and saying, "There's a bike. There's a bike."
Hey, did somebody ask for a revisionist?
Yes, we need a revisionist in the room. So let Danny back in, John.
No, not on my account. Oh, no.
He's in the back room, and
I don't want to, fuck up anybody else in here. But yeah, I mean, and here's the thing: I probably best understand Danny, not his thoughts on philosophy, but like it's okay. So if he knows more about the technical jargon of philosophy and what certain things mean that the average person wouldn't know, isn't he also smart enough when having a conversation with a non-expert to suss out when somebody is using a term colloquially? I mean, that's what kind of kills me. So and again, like I said, I understand what I understand about him is he got to a certain point. He got frustrated with you not having the conversation he wanted to have, and then he called you a dumbass.
Again, yeah.
That's where the problem lies. If Danny, and I agree, not that he goes around, saying this specifically that, hey, I'm a smart guy, you should listen to me. I agree with that. He is a smart guy. There's shit that we probably have to learn from him. But when he gets to the point where he doesn't want to give anybody any grace and, just wants to drill into some minor detail about a conversation, like he's smart enough to know all the things that he does know, but then he can't, in a situation like that, give you some grace. And instead of you telling him, he could just assume that, well, you're speaking colloquially, and maybe he could even ask you, well, is this what you mean by constructed? I mean, but instead he wants to call you a dumbass, and I think he likes being put in the back room is what it boils down to.
I think he likes being spanked. I don't know.
We'll have to ask his girl about that. If he likes being spanked.
Yep. Who left? Oh, we lost Stefan. Or Steve. Anyway, they have a Facebook page that we should all check out. And
Wait,
I
so
linked it in the
if I
chat, in the description.
wait, so if someone's using a term that I don't know what they mean, like I'm telling you, constructed is not used at all.
That's not what I said, though, Danny.
What did you say?
Well, because constructed is a word that is used in the English language. Okay, I understand. I understand that you said that it's not used in philosophy to mean anything, but the word constructed has a couple of different meanings in the.
So
English
what does speed mean? Maybe you can tell me then. What did speed mean?
John,
I never claimed to know what speed is.
And that's my claim. I don't understand. When he says that a term is constructed but not reduced, that's a big problem. That's a contradiction. The charitable way to understand constructed is just in terms of a reduction, right? That's why I don't understand him.
John, I'm not using it in the colloquial sense. I basically have done a lot of thinking on this, and I have some different ideas from apparently from the philosophers that Danny's read on it, and I was trying to explain it. And maybe I'll do some videos on it in the future, and we'll explain how this naturalism shit works.
Well, I got the situation wrong. Then I'm sorry. I just assumed, because that's often happens. When Danny is speaking to a neophyte.
Are you okay? Are you sick?
Who are you talking to?
You sound like you have a cold.
I woke up like 20 minutes ago.
Oh, okay. I was making sure.
Yeah, my sister always accuses me of, oh God, you sound sick. It's like, no, you fucking woke me up.
I just didn't expect that someone just.
I mean, here's the thing. Now that I'm going back in my head and thinking about, where that word was brought up, I did have an idea of. But it was just like a passing idea. Is in that, like, what's wrong even in philosophy to say that when it comes to different terms that they were constructed? Weren't they constructed by human beings?
Well, look, this is true. Look, the bachelor is constructed in terms of unmarried and man. That's a sense in which constructed can be used, but that's analytic and it can't be a reduction, right?
Well, I mean, as a matter of fact, though, real quick, because I just thought of this. You haven't been around since I remember this happening. Because you use that example quite a bit. And here the other day in a stream, you said that someone could know what the term bachelor means, that it's an unmarried man and not have any concept of marriage.
Oh, I didn't mean to say that. If that's what I said, I didn't mean it.
Yeah, okay.
No, it's like it's analytic, meaning that if you know what a bachelor is, you have to have a concept of marriage and gender or sex.
Right. Yeah, maybe I misheard you. Could be.
I might have misspoken, but the idea is that the word constructed here can either mean what I just said, but that's not what we're talking about, because the idea is that presumably Speed wants to understand mental states in terms of something else, like maybe a natural state or sets of natural states. I don't know what those are. He has an interesting view of the mind, and he's saying that it's going in a direction. So in the sense that, like, direction. That's already, like, if it's an identity claim that he's making of some sort, there is no direction, right? A is B and B is A. It's just the same thing as saying A is A and B is B. Okay, if it's identity. So I don't understand how he's using direction there. And constructed in we construct pizzas out of slices. We might do that. Or construct pieces in terms of wholes, like we slice up the pizza. But once again, that's going to be understood maybe in terms of a reduction. That what the pizza is just the summation of the pieces and the cheese and the parts, right? But that's going to be a reduction. So if he's saying that he's not doing a reduction, and if it's not conceptual, like conceptually constructed, like you were suggesting, John, I have no idea what he would mean by constructed. And so I asked him.
What are the relationships? Okay, if you were to reduce a pizza into its parts, what are the things in the relationship of what's happening in that reduction? What?
Can you
tell me
rephrase
what
the question?
elements are? Tell me what.
Oh, I know exactly what he means. Can I explain it?
Yeah.
Okay, he's saying that to reduce a pizza to its constituent parts, you have to realize that at one time all the constituent parts were constructed into a pizza.
I don't know about that.
No, John, no.
Oh, that ain't it.
No, something else deeper than that. Okay, if you are reducing,
I'm so wounded.
Well, no, I mean it's hard to understand speed, to be honest. So.
No, I'm
just messing. I'm just messing. Go ahead and please elaborate.
I wasn't using constructed in that sense at all. That you construct a pizza from its parts, or you construct a bike from its molecules. That's not it. Okay. I'm okay, and we do have a direction, right? But if you are to reduce a pizza into its parts, there is the pizza, and then there is the organism, the human being that is doing the reducing. That's a very important part of this relationship, right? So the person is going through some cognitive process to say, I have a thing here. I'm going to delineate its parts. It's called extending the set, but basically I'm going to talk about each of the parts that this thing is made of, right? But the person is very important there. And what I'm saying is that the person so you have a directionality. The person is taking the thing and they're going through this cognitive process and reducing it to the parts. Well, I'm saying that is the wrong direction when you talk about naturalism, that you always start with the parts and you construct whatever it is that you're coming up with. So you reverse the direction, and that's what it meant.
Does that make sense to you, John?
Probably not, but that's okay.
I don't understand.
Man, you've been hanging around with Danny far too long there, Speed.
Okay. Anyway, we're coming up on 4. So,
well, I mean, I just want to tell Danny, I mean, I do understand what he said, even though I didn't understand it first. But once he explained it, I mean, basically, he's saying that and tell me if I'm wrong again, Speed, you're saying that, like, in a situation like you're talking about, where it's something that humans had to do with, that you have to talk about it being constructed.
Well, we're trying to understand what things are, right?
Yeah.
And when we do that, we frequently reduce it to its parts. We'll come up with its parts, and we'll talk about, like, we'll define a bike, and we'll say, oh, there's handlebars, there's wheels, there's chains, there's all of that stuff. Okay, but the problem with that is that you'll end up with a bunch of parts. Front wheel and back wheel might be look identical, and now you got a category of parts. But if you want to understand what a bike really is, it is more than just the parts. It is the parts in relation to each other that makes the bike. So that is constructive. You go the other way.
But that leaves room for reduction.
Hold on. Is it the parts in relationship to each other, but also you're speaking of the fact that construct of a bike and how it's put together and what its parts are had to be conceived of by a human mind? Is that what you're saying?
No, not at all. Because if you're looking at a tree and you reduce a tree to all of its atoms and molecules, obviously no human mind put that tree together. But there's more to a tree than just saying, oh, it's a bunch of atoms and it's a bunch of cells, or it's however you want, or it's just a bunch of leaves stuck on a branch. There's a hell of a lot more to every tree. And there is no single tree in the world that is like any other tree in the universe. So
yeah, I think what you described before, what you just said there was just reduction, right? The idea of a reduction is, if you say a bike is the parts and how they work together and the relationship with one another, that's what I just take to be a reduction.
Have you ever heard of object-oriented philosophy?
I have.
Okay, have you looked into it?
No, that's continental stuff.
Okay. Not entirely. There's a few people that I've rubbed elbows with that I would not make that accusation. So.
Now, when you say that it's continental stuff, do you mean that it's that Chris Walken came up with it?
I just mean that it's done. It's a different method of doing philosophy, and they speak very differently. They almost speak a different language. It's hard to understand what they're saying because they use the terms very differently, and they construct their sentences very differently.
Now pay attention, chat. This is why the Speed show is so awesome, because one of the reasons anyway, because me and Speed are boomers, and we're joined by a lot of young people sometimes. And when I said about Christopher Walken, Speed chuckled and Danny just jumped over it and went on.
No, I like Christopher Walken. He was in Hairspray and some other,
Well, no, you know why? Because you know the reference to Continental, though?
No.
Oh, okay. He used to do a character on Saturday Night Live whenever he was on called the Continental, and he was like this lecherous dude who was always hitting.
Need more cowbell.
It's amazing that Saturday Night Live preceded most of these beings that we have on this channel, right? These guys weren't even conceived of yet. When
I've only seen 3 episodes of Saturday Night Live.
What you really want to do is watch the episodes that started. When did it start? In 76?
75.
75. Okay. Yeah, watch the first couple of years and forget the rest.
Who was the first?
Danny, have you ever watched The Deer Hunter?
I've never heard of it.
Yeah,
that's probably a better representation of Christopher Walken.
Yeah, I saw that one in the theaters. So
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. To me, I mean, I love all his stuff. I mean, he's been in shitty movies too, and like been the only bright spot in the fucking movie. But and like seemingly everybody has an impression that they do of Christopher Walken. But like the one movie wasn't all that. I mean, it was a good movie, but it wasn't like a real hit or anything. Is he did a movie with Johnny Depp probably 25 years ago called Nick
Headless Horseman.
What?
It was a Headless Horseman character.
No. This was called Nick of Time, and it also had Marsha Mason in it.
I don't remember.
I've almost watched that movie so many times.
You need to watch it, okay? Because what they do, just the overview of it, they kidnap Johnny Depp's little daughter because they're going to make Johnny Depp assassinate this woman that's running for office, Marsha Mason. And then in that partway through that movie, of course, Johnny Depp tries a couple times to reverse the situation. And then at one point they catch him doing that and saying, Christopher Walken. I mean, if you put in the YouTube search engine, Nick of Time, Christopher Walken monologue, he goes on about what he's going to do to this dude's child if he doesn't stop fucking around. And I mean, I can't even describe. He's talking
it's dark.
Yeah. I mean, he's talking about a friend of his he had in this, I can't remember whether they allude to him being in the mafia or what it is. But yeah, I want to see if I can find it, man. Cause it was just,
John, you're interested in the problem of evil, right?
Banned?
No, you won't get banned. Yeah, I mean,
you should watch the Stephen Law stuff because he's like one of the biggest problem of evil philosophers today. So you should, I'll link it to you.
Yeah, sure. I put it in the private chat.
Hey, before, one Christopher Walken movie nobody's mentioned yet that is a must to me is The Dead Zone.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. He was in the Dead Zone movie, and that was an awesome movie.
I just put it on.
So I like who is the dude, the 3-name dude who he did the TV series of that?
Anthony Michael Hall.
Yep, that's it. Yeah.
So
the Dead Zone movie.
In the Dead Zone, didn't he play like a clerk at a gun store or something like that real early? Was that him?
At the
no, he played a school teacher.
Oh, okay. So there's some movie I saw where Christopher Walken had just started, and it was a bit part, and he was running a gun store or something. I can't remember the movie, but anyway, I think it was kind of where Walken started out. So
I've yet to see the Dead Zone movie. I've seen the series, which was pretty good.
It was a pretty good series, which is rare, that you have a series based on a movie and like the series.
Well, no, it's based. The movie and the movie and the show are based off Stephen King's Dead Zone, the book.
Right.
Oh, here it is. Oh, we're gonna watch this. All right, wait a second.
Well, boys and girls.
Yeah, we're gonna close.
I'm sorry. Itchik also mentions the prophecy movies, which they're good. They're good. I would say they're pretty good.
I was thinking of Sleepy Hollow when John mentioned Johnny Depp with Christopher Walken. He was played at the Headless Horseman.
Okay, guys, let's end her for the day.
Oh, wait a second. I Wait, I want to watch this.
I'm gonna go away.
Well,
What?
it's only a couple minutes long. It won't hurt you. You'll be able to get to your Danny punching bag.
Is it a movie?
Well, no, I'm not going to play a whole fucking movie. I'm going to play like a 2-minute excerpt of a movie that I was just talking.
Yeah, we'll get a copyright strike.
No, you won't.
Yeah, I will. We'll see.
Well, no, because it's on some. It's not like from the studio.
We'll see.
All right. Well, if we get a copyright strike, then I will give you lots and lots of money.
With this quality, yeah, it's okay.
You got spunk.
Can't hear it.
Is it not going good?
No,
I hear it a little bit.
Not going good. Why don't you link it?
Irish Italian. Red face, black hair.
All right. Yeah, it doesn't sound.
Yeah, it's not working.
I haven't cleared
Well,
my
I
cat.
already plan on watching it anyway.
Link it. Oh, is that Nick of Time?
Yeah, that was the scene from the Nick of Time.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go watch that.
And then it's a movie worth watching. And then that scene there was like 2 minutes of it. And it's if you just go in, I went into the YouTube search engine and I just put in Nick of Time Christopher Walken monologue, and that was the first thing that came up.
Okay. I wonder if that's on Netflix. Netflix has been dumping some of their movies.
There's
I can go
Did
buy
y'all
it.
see the I Care a Lot movie? By any
Oh
chance?
my god, that movie was great.
I know
did see that.
it was
Yeah.
so good. Oh, you took that record, so you took the recommendation. That's nice. Other people recommended it to you too.
Actually, I just watched it. I watched it the day my son recommended it the day before everybody here recommended it, and I had watched it already. But yeah, that is an excellent movie. The other one is what the hell is the other one? Map of Tiny Perfect Little Things, which I thought was really kind of a
Map of Tiny Perfect Little Things. Okay.
Yeah, it's on Netflix, and it is sort of a tearjerker, kind of a Groundhog Day thing. Groundhog Day is my all-time favorite movie. I can't, I can't watch that movie without choking up. Because Groundhog Day is like I don't know, something about being reborn, and there's something about those movies that really gets to me emotionally. So I don't know why. It isn't like I've ever been reborn.
Well, you saw
as far
redemption
as-
in your life, and that's what those kinds of movies are about.
Yeah. Anyway.
Hey, Midnight, you were trying to say something?
Yeah, well,
yeah, hold that thought for a second. All right.
well done, John.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I clicked on that link that you posted, Danny. Is that the guy that like you and Speed were arguing over that like he didn't think was all that great, or
Who's that? What?
Stephen Law?
Yeah, Stephen Law. That's
okay.
he focuses on the problem of evil, and I remember us talking about the problem of evil.
Okay.
So I thought you'd be interested.
I just went and clicked on that video, so it was in my history, and I gave him a sub. So I'll go check him out.
So are you having a conversation with Dr. Dan and Andrew at 7
Yes.
Central Standard Time?
I'm hoping yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because Andrew wanted you to remember to schedule it.
Yeah, and I kind of want you in there, but I don't want any bigger a room than that. So
Okay.
I'll send you an invite.
Sure.
Anyway,
in other words, he doesn't want the clown to show up.
Otangelo.
No, I meant me.
Self-deprecation. My goodness, John. What have we not talked about this? Okay.
Well, I plan on watching Stephen Law and then starting Nick of Time.
Nick of Time, yes.
And then,
How much do I got to pay to get out of here?
I'll take $20.
We're ending the broadcast.
Stream.
Does
I want
anyone?
$20 so I can order a pizza and ask them if they make it from slices on
Those are your last words. Anybody else have last words?
Stay curious.
Okay.
I love you,
That's what
Midnight.
it takes. Shut up, Scott.
Wait, I have to get my last words. I love you, Midnight.
I'll say this is my last words. Science doesn't have all the answers, but the Bible has none.
There you go. Okay. Goodbye, cruel world.